More suffering caused by the war in Syria. This isn't grief, though. It's a twilight zone between hope and despair. People on both sides of the war seek this sort of help. A human rights activist here trying to trace one man out of tens of thousands. Most have been taken from the streets by government security agents. And they're known as the disappeared, a term adopted from the days of Pinochet's dictatorship in Chile. Back then in the 70s, there wasn't the drip feed of information you hear out of Syria, reports of atrocities, torture and mass hanging. It gets even worse for people like this woman, who's looking for a cousin she says is closer to her than a brother.
Whenever we are near getting any information, they start asking for huge amounts of money. We can't afford to pay, and so we don't know if he is alive or dead.
Yasmin al-BINSHI is used to hearing about such corruption, but her network of contacts is good. If it wasn't for the war turning her into an opposition activist, she would have been a lawyer. She spent 5 months in jail. Then there was a deal to get the release of 13 nuns and 3 of their staff who had been kidnapped by fighters from what was then known as the Al-Nusra Front. The nuns were freed in exchange for 150 women released from Syrian jails. Among them was Yasmin. Her knowledge as a law graduate and the experience in jail gave her the grounding to become a prominent human rights campaigner. Yasmin and others like her say that the thousands of people who aren't sure whether to grieve or search for their loved ones or friends have no real voice. And out of the mountain of humanitarian issues crying out for help, this is one of the most ignored.
We've sent many distress calls with evidence of what's happened to detainees to Staffan de Mistura at the UN. Unfortunately, they did not do anything for us. We consider de Mistura, the UN and the whole world part of this crime because they've done nothing to stop it.
There's another part of Yasmin's life that gives her drive. Her younger brother Ashraf has been missing for nearly 5 years. He's one of the disappeared.
It's my basic human right to know the fate of my brother. I need to know whether he's dead or alive. I brought him up and I have a feeling that he is still alive.
Yasmin shares the pain of the people she's trying to help. Andrew Simmons, Al Jazeera, Gaziantep.